Welcome, party people, to Tales from the Field. In sales, we all screw up. And it's in those moments that we screw up where we learn the most. And I'm committed to figuring out what that looks like to make it helpful and have some fun along the way. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tales from the Field podcast. I am Amy Volas, and I am absolutely thrilled to have my friend and all-around sales aficionado, Jim Shields. As I mess up your name, Jim Shields. I know how to say your name. It's Friday. I haven't been fully caffeinated after a long week. But Jim Shields, I am thrilled to have you here. For those that may not know you, how about we learn a little bit more about you with your intro? Tell us about you.
Thanks, Amy. And I am very excited to be here. I have been in sales for, pretty much my whole career. So I guess I would call it the more dedicated sales for the last 20 years in healthcare and now in the hospitality field. Love meeting people, getting out and seeing how whatever it is that I am selling can help their businesses grow and produce what they need to produce. So very excited to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. And you were awesome. When I asked you to do this, you're like, yep, sign me up. So
I'm excited.
I am too. It's official. So as you think back, what's one of your biggest sales screw ups? What happened? Walk us through.
I would say one of the biggest, and it's one, that you're going through the process. You try to get everybody on board. You talk through everything. Inevitably, price comes up. They're seeing everything. They see that they need this. They know, wow, this is better than what we currently are using. How do we get this in? And then they say, well, we need this yesterday. And then they say, talk me through price because I want to know. So as you know, the first thing is get price out. If you're making it all about price, it's never a good sale. But you want to get everything out so there's nothing hidden that pops up later. Well, I was working on 3 opportunities at the same time, juggling through, and I am in enterprise sales, so they're larger opportunities. I neglected to talk about the implementation fees.
Uh-oh.
And I thought I did. If you had asked me, I would have swore, oh yeah, we talked about those. So we agreed on the subscription price, got everything done. I sent over a proposal and I get an email. Hey, what's this extra $30,000 down here for implementation? You didn't tell me about this. Is this one of these hidden fees? And I thought, no, I'm sure I told you about those. And I said, well, no, we can talk through this. And I gave them a description of what that implementation fee details from, setting up everything, our process of getting everything rolled out, the cost it comes to us, et cetera. And I went back and listened. Fortunately, the company I work for, we had a program that recorded everything that we did. So I went back and listened, pulled it up, and I thought, I'll just cut this snippet out to where I talked about it. Lo and behold, I didn't talk about it. And I thought, how did I make this mistake? Because it wasn't my first couple of years of being in sales. And, that's a mistake you make as a rookie or if you're not confident about your product. So I had to go back and say, look, I did make a mistake and I apologized and I owned it. And I said, I can't cut it out, but let's talk through it. So we were able to set another meeting and walk through it. And I think once he realized I was truly embarrassed and upset that I had made that mistake, because a lot of people look at sales and it's unfortunate, they hearken back to the first thing they think of, which is a car salesman, which is so far from what we do.
Yep.
And they think, well, you're just trying to get one over on me and trying to explain this is not a get over. Here's where it all lays out. And we were able to walk through it. But, for 24 hours, I felt pretty horrible thinking, I really just messed this up. And it wasn't like, I could say, well, this was a small deal. I can brush that off. It wasn't a small deal that if I had lost it to that, I would have had a lot more eyes on me in the wrong way than I wanted.
Well, I think we've all been there where it's that uh-oh moment and you feel like you're getting called to the principal's office and that burning feeling in
Exactly.
your cheeks and that pit in your stomach. I mean, we've all been there, Jim. So I have to ask you, like,
Hmm.
first and foremost, I want to fast forward before I dig into some of the bits and pieces that you described. Did you win the deal? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yes, that was the saving grace. And actually, that customer is a very friendly customer with me. I get to talk to them often, not on issues going on with everything, but just catching up.
So all was not lost, which is amazing, right? So I talk about this a lot. There's the thorn and the rose, right? And it's all one
Hmm.
thing. The thorn hurts, it'll prick you, and the rose is the beautiful part. You got a little bloody there for a second, but then you came out
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything was roses.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, how much was that deal worth and how long did it take you to get to that point of the uh-oh and you realized that you truly didn't? How long was that process for that it took you to get to that point?
That deal on it was an annual deal worth, was it 133,000 annually for 3 years, so a 3-year contract. So 300, almost 400 grand.
Yeah.
Um, and I had sent the proposal over, and probably 15 minutes later, I got an email back, and I responded thinking, surely I'll just show him that. So within an hour of my response, and then going to check to make sure I had that snippet, and realizing I didn't talk about that at all. And I watched the video of it, and I went through all of this, but I didn't, because I couldn't see it. And it was so it was immediate. Hey, let's have a meeting tomorrow. And he said, I can't. And I'm thinking, can we do it at 8:30 in the morning? I want to get to it. If you can't meet today, can we meet tomorrow morning? And we couldn't meet till the afternoon. So it was really one of those, okay, do I say something to my boss? Do I tell him, hey, I might have really screwed this up? Or do I see where we can fix it first and see if I can fix it before having to go there? And I decided I'm going to see how bad it is. Is it, hey, you guys I don't want to deal with you. And at that point, I was willing to say, look, if you think I'm that, then take me out of the equation. I'll give it to my boss. He can give it to somebody else, and I'll let somebody else walk you through. Because I knew what our product did was good for him, but I didn't want him to make me think that was the negative. So fortunately, it didn't come to that. So I was able to walk through it with him and get him to understand everything and realize that it wasn't me trying to pull a fast one. It was just neglect. And I owned it. I said, you know what? I was moving too fast. I had a couple of pieces that I was working on, and I apologize. And he was very accepting of that. I think he realized that I'm not here just to make a quick buck on him, but that I truly wanted the best for his company. So that helped me tremendously.
Jim, I wish I could just clone you. I love that. Right? Like, I mean, look, you were in purgatory for a little bit. That feeling of just
Yeah.
like, what do I do? But in that moment, it's very tempting to try to hide. It's very
Yes.
tempting to get defensive. It's very tempting to try to massage it so whatever your mistake was isn't revealed. And I can't underscore enough, and I don't know if this is the lesson, but this is certainly a lesson that I'm hearing from you. Extreme ownership and accountability and showing up in a very thoughtful way. It's not all doom and gloom, right? We
No,
tend to make it a
no.
lot bigger than maybe what it is, and it's scary in that moment. But had you not done that, what do you think would have happened? Had you played it a different way where you just said the price is the price, or you tried to just sweep it under the rug or glaze over it or blame or get defensive, any of those alternative reactions, what do you think would have happened?
Because that all goes through your mind in those quick seconds of, oh my God, I screwed up. How do I get out of this? I don't like feeling like this. Where do I go? I think had I done something like that or tried to ignore it or tried to say, well, it's always been there, da 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 da, probably would have lost the deal. Probably would have lost the opportunity, and then, even the potential of that client coming back to someone else in our company and saying, you guys tried to throw this extra fee in, and then have it come back really negative on me as a person who's representing that company. I think that could have made it even worse. And, having been in this business for a while, you understand it all comes back. Whether you think you can get away with it or not, it is going to come back somewhere, somehow.
Hold, please, Jim. Can you say that about 1 million more times for anybody in the back that needs to hear it?
Exactly.
This is a very big, small world. And
yes, your reputation follows you and people talk. I don't care if it's in healthcare, if it's in hospitality, whatever industry. If you stay in that industry or even slide into another industry, you're going to find people who know you, and you have a reputation, whether it's you're a stand-up person or you play in shades of gray.
Say it loud, say it proud. Yes, you are. I can't. And this is a thing that I've been talking a lot about, separate, but something I think to note. This is the difference between professional reputation and personal brand. Your personal brand could be whatever it is. The professional reputation trumps all. And it's in those moments where, I'm a big believer that doing what's right, the time is right to always do what's right, even when it's hard. And
exactly,
you had some decisions to make that could have either opened doors or closed doors. And you chose in what I deem is the right way. I'm curious, how much time did you invest on the deal? So from cradle to almost grave, thank goodness you didn't go to the graveyard.
Oh,
how long did that take you to get to that point?
That was probably 2 months, 60 days. This is, that process is probably 60 to 75 day process in that sales process, when we were probably at about 60 days. So, a lot of investment, looking up things, discovery calls, demonstrations, making sure implementation, we can integrate all of those processes gone through, not just with me, but, solution consultant on the call, tech people on a call, dev people, making sure we can meet with everything and we meet the right criteria. They meet the right criteria, we can make it work. And their side, multiple people on their side as well. So yes, it was, there was a lot of time invested in that opportunity.
And could you imagine, and this goes back to the big, small world, big picture, long game, whatever you want to say, had you taken a different approach, and I think what you and I both agree is the wrong approach, but had you done that, not only would you not have gotten the deal, you would have dismantled 60 plus days worth of work, and not just work that you did, but the rest of the team. Your leadership team would have found out, you would have looked like a jerk. And on top of that, the most important thing that I want everybody in this audience to hear is Jim's still cool with this buyer. They still talk. Big, small world, y'all. This buyer is going to talk about this experience. And I find that in those moments where you take a left turn and how you recover, you took accountability, you took ownership, you had a real business conversation, person to person. He respects you for it. And because of that, he will talk about you in a way that you want to be talked about. And I don't think that we always remember when we're not in the room, how is it that we would like to be discussed? And so,
exactly,
I'm sorry, I'm answering some of these questions for you, but I just love what you're saying, Jim. I was hoping for this from you. Here you are. I love it. This is amazing. So I have to ask you, because you said, this wasn't my first rodeo. This wasn't my very first deal that I did. I knew better. And here I was.
Yes.
Which also is a lesson. We all make mistakes. That's part of this. And part of this podcast is meant to help people understand that none of us are infallible. So when I think about that, what do you do now to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, the biggest thing, and I think I had 3 opportunities that were all coming together at the same time. So I was juggling balls, talking to multiple people, some of the same people, but trying to keep everything on track. And I got rushed. because I had a call after that one that it was similar. And you're in the throes of closing. That's you're firing on all 8 cylinders. Well, in doing that, I skipped some steps, which is the rule. Slow down, don't skip a step, and be patient. But end of the month, it's the end of the month now, so things are coming in and they're coming in hot, and you got to get them done. You don't want to skip those steps, because that's where everything can get tested. Either you make a mistake with the client or you make a mistake with your team, and you don't put something in, and then it comes back when everything's being set up that they say, why did you give them this? We can't do this. And now you really have to go back and own something that you signed up, and we can't do this part. So that's worse, well, not worse. They're all bad, but it is slow down, go through the process. It's there for a reason, and it works for a reason. It's when you start jumping those steps that you make the bigger mistakes, and then your integrity is tested, because you have to own that you skipped steps and made a mistake. And that's what I had to do, was own that I got moving too fast and didn't follow my normal process of setting everything up.
Well, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, as they say.
That's right. That's what I say on my golf swing.
What's golf? No. You wouldn't want to see my golf swing, or lack thereof, but I digress. That's a different episode for a different day, Jim. But
there we go.
When you think back, and thank you so much for sharing this. We've all been there.
Oh,
We've all done it.
My pleasure. Yes.
When you're thinking about this out loud and sharing in such a lovely way with yours truly and the listeners, thank you. Hearing yourself talk about this, thinking about this, and knowing that you've come full circle, right? So you put in the work, you get to that point, you take a little bit of a left turn, you recover because of what we've talked about, and now you're still friendly and on to the next deal, right? For anybody that's listening to this, what are some of the maybe like 1 to 3 things that you would love for anybody listening to take away?
Follow your process. Always own your mistakes. I think they're always going to come. We're human. We will make mistakes, but own your mistakes. I've seen too many times, professionally and personally, where people want to have an excuse or have a reason. If so-and-so hadn't done this, I wouldn't have done that. No, that's up to you. They didn't make your choice. So own your mistakes, follow your process, own your mistakes. And when you make them, come to the person and say, I made this mistake and here's the correction. Then you've done your part. Whether that deal works or doesn't work, they will at least know you were honest, and that your professional reputation, like you said, does follow you around.
Those are 3 fire takeaways. So for y'all listening, I hope you wrote those things down and put them on sticky notes or tattoo them on your forehead, or I don't care, make them wallpaper. I don't care what it needs to be, but read, rinse, repeat. I do have to ask one final question.
Okay.
When did you own this with your leadership team internally? Bonus round before we wrap this thing up.
after I spoke with the client, because I knew if it wasn't going to go correctly, if he had said, I'm holding you accountable, I would have said, this was my plan, was our product is what you need. I will take myself out of this and give you somebody that you can work with, because I believed in the product. So after that, I did tell my sales leader, hey, just so you know, this happened. Here's where we went. I have it on recording so you can hear it. And he was like, wow, you own that. He said, I'm glad you did. And it sounds like we're going to be okay. That was before we had signed everything. So he was just, I wasn't sweating at that point because I knew I had done my part. I owned my mistake. So all things said, I could hold my head high.
And as you should. That's I love this story, Jim. Thank you so much. And I mean, I think the thing that just makes me want to crawl through the screen and give you the biggest hug is you realize that it may have gotten bigger than you. And if you were the log jam, you would take yourself out. And we
Yeah.
all have ego. It's
Oh, yeah.
what we do in those moments to check it. And you could have easily been like, I need to be the hero of the story. Nobody else is as good as I am. This is my relationship. We've all felt those things. We've all
Exactly.
thought those things. And sometimes we've all acted in those moments. I really applaud you for showing up that way. And I guarantee you, if that's really how you felt, it's not even the words that you said. It's that intention that came through in your actions that probably still got that deal over the finish line for you. So well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And thank you so much. This is exactly, ladies and gentlemen, friends, Romans, countrymen, whomever is listening right now, this is exactly what the show is about. And it really is in these gut-wrenching moments where you feel like you're getting called into the principal's office.
Exactly.
Where we grow the most and where we tend to not make those same mistakes. And if you are making those same mistakes, there's that whole definition of Einstein's in definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different. Hopefully this inspires you why you should make some changes. So, Jim, thank you. Appreciate you. This was amazing. For anybody listening that's like, oh, I want to be like Jim when I grow up, or Jim's amazing, or I would like to connect with Jim or talk shop with Jim, where can our friends find you, Jim?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, Jim Shields. Don't ask me what my LinkedIn, I think it's Jim Shields 3. But you'll see my face. So I show up, I work for a company called Harry, and we are an HCM platform that is in the hospitality sector, and happy to help anyone in that sector. Or if you're just new to sales and want some help, I'm happy to mentor and help you grow in your sales process and career.
Jim, you're the best. I appreciate you. This is exactly what I was hoping for. For anybody listening, I truly hope this was helpful. A serious truth bomb coming straight out on this podcast. So thank you. And for those listening,
thank you.
We'll see you next time. Thank you, Jim. You're welcome. All the things. And until next time, everybody, thank you. Thank you. You've been in sales. I've been in sales. And in sales, it's a journey where we all have stumbled. And it is in these moments where we grow the most. So for anybody listening, I hope that this was helpful. This has been a Sales Feed production. If you're not familiar with all the fun things that they have up their sleeve, check out salesfeedmedia.com.